welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is to try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In the previous video we looked at Richard Hoffman's request for discovery, and in today's video we're going to be following that on, looking at Richard Hoffman's legal case for complaint, and this is going to be for declaratory relief. It's also going to be for securities law violations, racketeering and also accounting. So before we do that, we're going to have a look at some news with regard to the U3 halt. There has been some breaking news today, so I'm going to share with you a tweet first of all from Rosa. So we can see here a very strong tweet from Rosa, and what she stated here is certainly implying that she's caught FINRA out, and we can see that she states here they definitely did this because of my last filing, and in her last filing she said they deleted that they never deleted. So now it looks like FINRA have probably read this filing. Obviously they should have read it properly, but their attorneys certainly do not seem to be doing a due diligence accurately in terms of what they were paid for by FINRA. So FINRA, I think you do need new attorneys as well, and their attorney maybe now has just woke up after watching some inappropriate websites, maybe, we don't know, and told FINRA to file it right this second because he lied in his motion to dismiss. So news agencies, hope you're watching this, and this is clear that monopoly and self-interest is at centre stage. So shout out here to Winston, who said you can't backdate an official record, but be like, see it, there it was. You got this, Rosa. So there's an allegation of backdating, so let's just clarify that here. So shout out here to Pro Street Art and Enthused08, who's also stated here, yes, it's a retrospective been added the D1 code to MMTLP as of last night and backdated to the 13th of December 2022. So I think in the history of U3 halts, this is certainly the first time ever in the history of the stock market. Looks like FINRA have backdated a U3 halt. So if somebody can confirm or deny anything against this, so we can see here, yes, Pro Street I've checked, and the D1 code now seems to be added. So big news here. So if we just check the halt codes now, so now they have added the D1 code, previously U3. U3 was halt, now it's a D1, so the security is deleted from the OTC and does no longer exist. So what does this mean? Basically this means MMTLP has gone, it cannot be traded under that name. So let's see how this progresses from now. So before we look at the amended complaint, we can see here that Richard has just posted and he's preparing a new amended complaint with regards to FINRA, and we will know more in a week's time. And the case is now going to go to federal court. So before what I'm now going to focus on is the first amended complaint. So we're going to have a look at this, and in anticipation of the new one, we will basically be able to monitor and see what changes. So first of all, if we have a look at this, this is in the Superior Court of the state of California, in and for the Court of Los Angeles, and the first amended complaint is for declaratory relief, securities law violations, racketeering and accounting, and it is against FINRA, Fidelity and the DTCC. What I've done with regard to Richard's complaints, I've broken it down into 20 key points. So we're going to go through these points as briefly as possible. So starting with number one, what Richard has stated in his complaint is, first of all, the defendants. We're talking, the defendants are FINRA, the DTCC and Fidelity. So the defendants are attempting to block justice about the correct status and number of MMTLP shares. So 100% agree with that. They are certainly trying to do that, and I think this is one of the reasons why shares are not going through into AST. If they were to do that, there would be a huge problem and they would be implicated. So number two is also stated here, FINRA is relying on fraudulent documents and did not seek authorization. So let's now just refer to the information from the filing, and we can see here highlighted in yellow, obviously obstructing justice, blocking the plaintiff and others similarly looking at the correct status of MMTLP position and shares. And further on we can see there's relying on fraudulent documents without seeking authorization, losing relevant form 211, and we can see here obviously apparently you may not know this, but apparently FINRA is designed to protect America's investors by making sure the broker-dealer industry operates fairly and honestly. I know that might be news to you, but apparently that's what FINRA do, but has acted on their own self-business interests with regard to retail investors and outside of any regulatory capacity, and also further going on to say they collectively acted in a criminal manner by knowingly permitting and benefiting from the illegal trade of naked shorts. So again, very strong argument here, and in my opinion 100% accurate and true. So now, starting from point number 3, what I'm going to do is just go through these up to point 20, and then after point number 20 I will share with you screenshots of all the relevant pages if anybody wants to take screenshots of them for reference. But before we continue, again, just a reminder that this is not legal advice, this is just my own personal opinion as a layman. So let's continue with number 3. So what Richard is also saying here is the DTCC facilitated illegal shorting of illegal shares throughout unbridled settlement procedures. Number 4, the defendants, again we're looking at the 3 degrees there, which are FINRA, DTCC and Fidelity. They have collectively, for their own benefit, set up a corrupt and unlawful trading system. So again, that is why they certainly seems to be not responding, not replying, not providing clarification. Number 5, they have suppressed and destroyed information related to MMTLP. Strong allegation and almost certainly true. Number 6, they have sold illegal short shares that didn't exist and borrowed from longs without consent. So if there are any longs there, you can see most likely your shares were borrowed without your consent, but the brokers were not contractually required or obliged to do this. So moving on to number 7, the defendants failed to require hedge funds and market makers to close positions and failed to create a taxable event. So in terms of the taxable event, this is what Richard seems to be referring to, is a taxable event for the market makers, the hedge funds, because once they close and obviously declare any profits, that is taxable. So they have avoided that. So again, strong allegation, but 100% correct allegation. Number 8, defendants acted with the intention to harm retail investors. I think we've seen the proof of that. Almost every single MMTLP investor has been harmed. So no doubt about that whatsoever. Number 9, the defendants were aware of 1 billion plus illegal shares of MMTLP and knew they were bogus. So again, if this is the case, and it certainly seems highly likely, this could also explain why they are being extremely evasive. Number 10, the defendant supported trading through the 8th of December 2022, and there was an agreement that shorts would not cover, preventing a squeeze and avoiding liability approaching trillions. So obviously they have saved a huge amount of money by obviously these actions that were carried out. Number 11, Fidelity facilitated the creation of illegal synthetics because the market maker supply Fidelity with revenue and protection. So I think there's huge amounts of conflicts of interest here. Fidelity, in one of my previous videos, I did state that there are a significant number of people working for Fidelity with salaries in excess of £1 million. Where are these salaries coming from? They're coming significantly from the broker dealers. So if Fidelity are regulating the broker dealers and the broker dealers are paying Fidelity, well, that is a clear conflict of interest. And if the broker dealers go bankrupt and lose money, well, who's out of a job? The big fish in Fidelity, all their £1 million salaries will be gone. So Congress needs to investigate this, and FINRA needs to be part of the SEC. So that will make it much more transparent, fair and accountable. Let's move on to number 11. We can see here facilitated creation of illegal synthetics because market makers supply Fidelity with revenue and protection. We just done that one. Number 12, defendants were aware of improper shorting tactics, even illegally after the halt, when 80% of the volume was shorted, dropping the price from $8 to $3, and millions have not covered. So 100% true. And I also further go on to say they have not covered, but they've also entered into a private company. So again, that should not be allowed, but that has been allowed, and this also needs to be investigated. So the next slide here is covering points number 13 to 20. So moving on here, we can see there was no way for defendants. So moving on to number 13 here, we can see that Richard is also saying there was no way defendants were not aware of all the facts. So what we're talking about here is they must have been aware of the U3 halt in advance, and that's why nobody covered. Because if they were not aware of the U3 halt, they would have been scrambling to cover, but we never saw that. Number 14, FINRA placed an extremely rare U3 halt after close of trading, and defendants knew in advance, but still let investors buy fake shares. So FINRA knew about these dates for months and months in advance. They suddenly came out with a U3 halt after trading, not during trading, and they were claiming it was uncertainty in the settlement process. And since then, FINRA have just been pleading the fifth. Number 15, plaintiff alleges the U3 halt was a criminal act to hide illegal short shares that did not exist. We know the evidence states that this is true. We know there was a huge amount of naked shorting. We know that FINRA have got the data to either prove or disprove this, but what they are doing is they don't want discovery because discovery will implicate them. Number 16, as a result, plaintiff lost the right to sell, and market makers and hedge funds potentially saved billions. So again, I've carried out a number of calculations to show that yes, the hedge funds would have lost billions and billions and billions, especially if they were forced to close. And number 17, what Richard is stating here is, in the light of malicious acts of defendants, plaintiff is entitled to an award of punitive damages. Number 18, there's a pattern of illegal conduct with regards to illegal marketing, selling and disguising of illegal short shares, but not limited to MMTLP. Plaintiff has been harmed. So obviously we know that this has gone on with MMTLP, but it is also going on a daily basis, probably right now, with many other stocks, including GNS we know about, Mullen, HLBZ, but the vast majority will be penny stocks. And number 19, as a proximate failure of defendants to provide accounting, the plaintiff has been harmed and is entitled to full and complete accounting. So there has not been any disclosure, there has not been any transparent release of data, figures, and accounting. So it's a simple request: show us the figures, show us the data, show us the accounting. So far, all refusals. And finally, number 20, the plaintiff prays for the following relief. So what I'm now going to do is, on the screen, is share with you screenshots of some of the information that I've taken from the filing that was kindly provided to me by Richard. So feel free to take screenshots and have a look at some of the points that I've shared with you here that were from the original filing.